Good morning, 8th grade class. Today we're going to look at Chapter 3, Lesson 6 in your book. Please watch all of this video. Uh, it gives you the equation linear y minus y1 equals m, parentheses x minus x1. That is called point slope form. Okay. You have to remember m, that is slope. Notice the little picture. You're going to substitute the numbers. Again, these are ones because it's the first set of the groups, right? These are just regular x and y. So where it says y, you take this number, bring it over here, minus y1. This number in blue, put it over here, equals m. That's the slope. They will give you the slope. You put parentheses, x, that number right here, minus x1. That is the format. So again, let me write it down on my paper. Y minus y1 equals m, parentheses, x minus x1. That is point slope form. Let's take a look at some of the examples. Number one is, again, I always start my paper, write down the magic formula. Write an equation in point slope form. Well, notice on your paper, you write y minus. Again, see how they only have an x and a y? Well, there's your y1. That's why they put y minus 3 equals, there's your slope, 4 parentheses. You write x minus, what's your x1? -2. Make sure you put the negative and the minus. Then you must turn it to a positive. That is your final answer. Also, if you're struggling with this assignment besides watching my video, please go to YouTube and look up how to write an equation in point slope form. You can also look up how to write an equation in point slope form that passes through an x and a y coordinate that has a slope. Now, example number 2 says write the slope-intercept form of the equation from example 1. Ooh, you have to remember slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Again, write down your notes. That is slope-intercept form. That is point slope form. So we have our answer for number 1. Y minus 3 equals 4, parentheses x plus 2. Well, notice we have parentheses, so we have to distribute, right? So we have to get rid of the parentheses. Y minus 3 equals 4 times x, which is 4x. 4 times 2 is 8. The last step, again, you want to get y by itself, right? So I have to add 3 to both sides, just like they did in the video. Or excuse me, just like they did in your book. To get our final answer, y equals 4x plus 11. Now you are done with number 2 because it says write the slope-intercept form from example 1. All right, let me go ahead and pause it. All right, it says write an equation in point slope form. So step number 1, I'll write it down. Y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. And double check the book. That is correct. Now the slope passes through the form. Okay, so we have our points. There's our x1, there's our y1, and there's our slope. So we write y minus, well, here's my x, this is my y, so write y minus 2 equals m, and there's your slope. There it is. So I put -1/2, parentheses, x minus, there's my x1. Notice, I have the minus and a minus, so that would now make a plus to give us our final answer. So y minus 2 equals -1/2, parentheses, x plus 1 in parentheses. Our final example says write an equation in point slope form. So before I begin anything, I write that on my paper. Y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. And the slope is slope-intercept form. Yep, point slope and slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So we have to do step number 1, find the slope. Remember, this is where you stack them and subtract them. So I'm going to put on my paper 8, comma 1, -2, comma 9. Notice I have them stacked. Now I'm going to subtract them. 1 minus 9, again, goes on top. 8 minus negative 2 goes on bottom. 1 minus 9 gives me negative 8. 8 minus negative 2 gives me 10. And notice I got my answer of negative 8 tenths. They got the same thing, but they simplified it to negative 4 fifths. So I'm going to write that number off to the side on a piece of paper. Negative 4 fifths equals my slope. Now let's go back to the problem. Step 2, it says use the slope and coordinates of either point. So it doesn't matter which point you use. You're going to say, oh, which 2 points? Well, let's go back to the top. There's point 1, group 1. Here's group 2. You can use either group 1 or group 2. So it says use the slope and coordinates of either point to write the equation in point slope form. So I'll do the first group. That's what they did. And I usually like the first group when they're both positives. So write y minus 1, because that's my y1, equals my slope, which was negative 4 fifths, parentheses, x minus x1. There's my x1. Notice they color coordinate it to help you out. That is my answer when it says use the slope and the coordinates to write the equation in point slope form. That is point slope form. Now, the last step, it says, so the point slope form correctly, and they have it right here that I just said a second ago. Now it's the slope intercept form. So now we want to get y by itself. So step number 1, we have to distribute. Y minus 1 equals, we take negative 4 fifths times x, which is negative 4 fifths x. Then we have to take negative 4 fifths times negative 8. And that's where they got their answer of 37 over 5. And then the last step. Notice that negative 1 is on the left-hand side. We need to move it over to the right, so we have to add 1. To get our final answer of y equals negative 4 fifths x, and then we add 37 over 5 plus 1 to get my answer. Or excuse me, we need to take negative 4 fifths times negative 8. Write down that number. So let me pause it, do that in the calculator. All right, so that would give me negative 4 fifths times negative 8, which would give me 32 over 5. And then I add 1 to it to get my final answer. And that's what they got. And that is correct. Y equals negative 4 fifths x plus 37 over 5. If you don't like this as an improper fraction, you can do on your calculator 37 divided by 5 and make it as a decimal. I would leave this because remember, slope is rise over run. It's supposed to be a fraction. All right, let me take a look at some of your examples for the homework. We'll do a couple of those together. First of all, your homework. Your homework is going to be the guided practice 1 through 3 and independent practice 1 through 8. Again, I hope you're still watching all this video, because if you are, you need to email me at the very end of this, and do not tell anybody else. Give me the magic code, Peoria Heights Patriots, and again, you email me, Peoria Heights Patriots. Email me direct, and I will give you 10 points extra credit. All right, let me look at guided practice number 1. Write the equation in point slope and slope intercept form. So again, we have our two magic equations on our paper. There they are. Point slope, slope intercept. So y minus y1, oh, there it is, 5 equals m, which is my slope. So I put 4 parentheses x minus x1. There it is. There is my answer. Number 1. Now, we have to write that in slope intercept form. So we need to distribute. So I write y minus 5 equals 4 times x, which is 4x, 4 times negative 2, which is negative 8, Last step, we need to get y by itself, so we need to move this negative 5 over. So we have to add 5. So I get y equals 4x minus 3. And I will circle or a little block around my two answers. First answer, that is your point slope form. Second answer here is your slope intercept form. All right, let me go ahead and do number 2. I'll keep on my paper my two formulas. So step number 1, we need to stack them and subtract them. So negative 3 comma 1, negative 2 comma negative 1. Stack them and subtract them. Remember, these are your y's. They're going to go on top. So 1 minus negative 1, negative 3 minus negative 2. 1 minus negative 1, well, that's 1 plus 1, so that's 2. Negative 3 minus negative 2, negative plus, negative 3 plus 2 gives me 1. Hey, look, our slope is going to be nice because 2 divided by 1 is 2. So my slope is 2. I'm going to write that off the side of my paper. 2 equals my slope. Now, let's go back to the original formula. Y minus y1. I'll use the first group again. Again, there's my x, there's my y. So y minus y1. y1 is 1. So y minus 1 equals my slope, which was 2, parentheses x minus x1, which is negative 3. Now, don't forget to make your two negative, make a positive. We are done. That is our first equation. That is point slope form. Now we just distribute, put it in slope intercept form. So y minus 1 equals 2x plus 6. Again, because I take 2 times x, 2x, 2 times 3, which is 6. Last step, we need to add 1 to both sides. So we get our final answer, y equals 2x plus 7. That is our final answer. Again, that is in slope intercept form. All right, very last problem. Let's take a look at our story problem number 3. Janelle's planning a party. Wish I could be there. Parties are fun. The cost for 20 people is $299. The cost for 45 people, $590. Write an equation in point slope form represent the cost of y having a party for X amount of people. Then go ahead and clear off my board. And again, we will tackle this. All right, I'm back. So step number 1, we have our two equations because it says write an equation in point slope form. Again, there's point slope form, right? So the first thing we have to do is find our slope. So we have to stack them and subtract them. So I'm going to put on my paper 20 comma 290 and 45 comma 590. 290 minus 590 goes on top. And the bottom is 20 minus 45. Gives me the answer of negative 300 over negative 25. Well, we can simplify that. So let's do on my calculator negative 300 divided by negative 25. I get my answer of 12. So 12 is my slope. Write that down. Now, from there, it says write an equation in point slope form. Where you are, almost done. Y minus y1. Well, y1, let's just use our first group. There's my x, there's my y. 290 equals our slope, which was 12, parentheses x minus x1, which is 20. All right, well, that is today's lesson. Now, it would not matter if you use the first group or the second group, but please, please, please use the first group. All right, so if you watched all this video, remember how I said you give you 10 points? I will give you 15 extra credit points. Send me a screenshot, though, please. Send me a screenshot of me holding up number 15. Have a good day. If you do not send me the screenshot with the 15, then other people leaked out the answer. You must send me a screenshot. Have a good day. Please let me know if you need help or any questions.